Welcome back to another episode of Millennials to Millionaires. I'm Alicia Ace West.
I'm Tuya State, and we got a special guest in the building. We got my brother, my good friend. He's an NBA champion. He's a former Toronto Raptor. He's a serial entrepreneur as well. And it's Cory Joseph, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the place. Welcome to M2M. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, you've got a crazy basketball history. You're a local boy. I remember you used to go to school in the East Ends. Do you want to just talk about like your family history in basketball? Because you guys are kind of like legendary in the Canadian basketball game.
Yeah, his dad played ball too.
Yeah, your brother, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. I came from a basketball family. My mom, my dad actually met up in Calgary.
Oh, wow.
Before they came to Toronto. Played at the same college. That's where they met. And then, they came down here, had us. Grew up into a basketball family. He coached Eastern Commerce. My mom coached as well, Scarborough Blues.
Hey, big up to Scarborough Blues. I hated playing Scarborough Blues. I used to play on like the Monarchs and Brampton Blue Devils, and we hated having to play the Scarborough Blues.
Yeah, we whooped you guys up.
Probably. It was a different breed out there.
For our age group and our team, Tristan knows.
Brampton had the ballers,
right?
though. Brampton had ballers.
Yeah, when you look at it, when you look at like the history of what Brampton has bred, like you guys have definitely done that. Everything else is a little, side eye.
We'll take the ballers though. We'll claim it.
Yeah.
So just basically grew up in a basketball family, introduced to the game at a young age, fell in love with it, and kept going from there.
Just kept riding until you can't ride no more.
Exactly. Still doing it.
Yeah. And what do you think your parents were able to instill in you? Because I feel like with playing basketball, it's either your parents really push you to like exceed, or they just be like, oh, have fun with it, right? Do you feel like your parents were those that were like, okay, you got to keep going, you got to keep going?
I think they had perfect balance. They kept me in love with the game. Didn't push me too hard, but at the same time, realizing that I loved the game at a certain point, then they'll push me to become better. So I think the balance was perfect. But they didn't tell me, oh, you have to play, or none of that. I was just introduced because I was always around it, and I ended up loving it.
Do you think you loved it more because you saw that your parents loved it so much also?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was a big factor. Damn near when I was born, I was brought to the gym right after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being around it so much and seeing it so much, definitely played a factor in me loving it.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you feel having a big brother who plays basketball? Did you ever feel pressure to try to like be as good as him, better than him? Like,
no, not at all. Actually, it was actually great for me. He was an amazing player. He still is an amazing player. He plays overseas currently professionally. But I got to sit back and kind of, at that time, hockey was still at the forefront of Canada, Basketball has caught up a lot since then. But I got to sit back and see what he's done, how he, handled his college situation, which college he picked, certain situations he went through that I got to see firsthand, which helped me throughout my career and through my path. So it was great to have an older brother who's kind of going through the same thing that I went through.
And to me, it's just so crazy that there is this generation that came before us, because I think me and you are similar age, but there's a generation that came before us that was so talented but never got the looks that like you and like Tristan and like because you guys were some of the first Canadians to really get drafted and play for as long as you guys are playing and stuff like that, right? So it's just so crazy that there is this one generation that works so hard that never really got the looks.
Yeah, I think it just comes from the exposure aspect of it.
Yeah.
We've been having talent for a long time.
Yeah.
I could go back and name so many people that had, and you see some of them. Obviously, Denham went to UConn, and you see a lot of guys that, came up before us, but didn't have the exposure at a younger age, I would say, in the high school and whatnot. And that's why the decision for me and double T to go down south at a young age in high school played a big factor in, switching the kind of the role, you know what I mean? And now all the college coaches are coming to Canada and Toronto to look at talent. But we, at that time, because of the exposure was almost non-existent. I mean, a little bit, but almost non-existent in Canada. They always thought it was a hockey country, I think nowadays, since we did that and now we kind of have the eyes watching us, now you could stay in Toronto and still get a good, or stay in Canada and still go to a good college like Shea has done.
Yeah, there's so many who had to leave at such a young age. Do you ever feel like you missed out? Because you've been, you were gone for so long, right? Probably around 14, 15 or whatever.
Right.
That's how long you've been out of your home city. Do you ever feel like you missed out?
Yeah, for sure. But that's what comes with the sacrifice,
Paid off.
Whenever you dream big and you're going for something that's a great accomplishment, there's sacrifices you have to make along the way, and that was one of them. I left, like you said, at a young age. I left my family, I left my friends, I left what I knew, and I had to become a man at a very young age. Do my own laundry, do everything, clean the home spot.
Right?
You know what I mean? You don't think of those things when you're 14, 15-year-old. Sometimes even make some food, hold you over.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, they did an amazing job of feeding us and stuff. I'm not saying that, but
but I mean, you guys are growing
don't send
boys.
your kids to prep school,
right?
But it's crazy in life. Sometimes timing is so crucial, because had you left 2 years later, it may not have turned out this way. I mean, you picked the right opportunity, so you change your platform completely at that 14, 15 age, which is crucial. That literally changed the trajectory of your career, essentially. I believe.
And that goes back to my brother's standpoint. He was leaving to college at that time, so with him leaving, I was like, well, I might as well go, on my journey as well.
Yeah.
Made it easier for me to leave.
Yeah, you see.
You know what I mean? If he was still there, it would have made it very tough for me to leave. You know what I mean? So that goes back to that standpoint.
See how the timing worked out?
The timing worked out,
Perfectly.
And I had 2 years over there in Vegas where I did my high school.
Enough
and
time
it was
to
good.
get settled,
Right.
get used to the system, get used to the pace, and then all of a sudden, okay, your senior year now, you're killing.
Yeah, my first year when I got there, I was ranked in all the high school rankings, whatever. It was 172nd. I'll never forget. And after the year, I moved way up. I think I was top 20. And then my senior year, in some of the blogs, I was the second, third PG. So Kyrie and Brandon Knight and myself, we had Kendall Marshall. A lot of those guys were in the same kind of group, So it was good to move down there.
Yeah,
for sure.
that's some good company to be with, right?
Made the McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, which was huge. We know the percentages on that already on guys that make the McDonald's game.
And the Jordan, you made the Jordan game too.
Yeah, Jordan game. Yeah, I did all those games.
Yeah, if you make those, then you're more than likely gonna have at least get drafted and then have a pretty decent career at least. At the least.
Yeah. Most of the guys that make that, make the NBA, the percentages are pretty good. So I was happy about that.
So let's talk about your NBA career. There was a moment where you got to play for your home city. That must have been crazy, to be able to wear a jersey that you watched growing up, right? Might have been able to go to the games, right? It's dang, I'm really playing for my city.
Yeah, that was a crazy feeling. Every game was crazy. Crazy with tickets. Crazy feeling. Every game.
I imagine that everybody hitting you up. Yo, can I get a ticket?
Game.
Yeah,
Were you?
But it was an amazing feeling, man. It was. With that being said, that's just all the love, to see all the love. And the playing part was amazing. When I first signed, it didn't really sink in until you put on your jersey and you go out the first game. And you go out and you
hear
look
that
around.
applause.
Yeah, you got the applause and all that, but you look around and you see a lot of people that you knew growing up, you know what I mean? And that was an amazing feeling, the love. At one point, obviously Kyle and DeMar's jersey, but I was right up there with them selling.
Jersey sales, yeah.
Was
And you strategically had that number.
Yeah.
You're the home. You're the hometown hero, and the number was perfect.
So everybody.
That was everything.
It's yes, I need this jersey. That's good though.
And the most amazing thing, sorry to cut you off. The most amazing thing was not even playing. Of course, was great, but when you would go out in the community and you would do stuff like that teams required to do. And I would do stuff that I'm not required to do, of course. I'm not saying I only do stuff when I'm required to do it, but I would go out in the community and I'll see like the people that I've grown up with or I know or the kids, and it's a special, feeling because I could relate. Different type of connection with that.
That's amazing because like even with the younger generations, when they see you out and about, you become this dream that they might have becomes tangible because it's like you grew up here as well and you were able to make it out and you were, so that's a great thing that you're able to inspire these kids and you probably don't even realize.
Yeah,
I
really
mean? Like you don't realize.
Some of these guys that make it to the league now, like, I was watching you when I was growing up. I'm like, what?
What? I'm still, like, am I that
I'm still
old?
Going myself.
Are you aging me?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably the same when you play with people like LeBron or like when you would play against Kobe Bryant and stuff like that. These are people that you grew up watching, and then you get there and you're like, am I really doing this? Like,
right, for sure.
I used to.
First year was crazy.
Yeah, what's that feeling like?
First year was going fast because it was a lockout year. Okay. Me and Cory came together. It was a lockout year. We did a bunch of stuff together. Then we got there, and it was only like 1 week of training camp. You know what I mean? It was crazy. It was a weird year.
You have to learn stuff really quickly.
Right. And I'm on one of the best teams in the league. And I think obviously the best, we won. I thought we were the best, but it was going fast, I get there, we're in training camp. I'm, looking at Tony Parker do his thing, and Pop is not even, like, we're playing, scrimmaging and stuff, and Tony and Pop are looking at each other. They're not even talking, though. They're just doing, like, some sign languages for the plays and
they
stuff.
Understand.
And I'm looking like, what the hell does that mean? I'm going crazy, you know what I mean? So I just had to learn so quick because of the locker only gave us a short period of time to learn. So it was crazy. But then, obviously, playing other people that I grew up watching was unbelievable, Watch, obviously, Cole, Brown, all these guys, even Vince Carter. D Rose when he was cooking.
He was serious then,
he
crazy
still is
athleticism.
serious.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
he had a hell of a year in Detroit. But I mean, that's MVP D Rose going crazy. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of guys.
What are some of your favorite things you've learned? Because like you said, your first year, you got placed on a very good, solid team with a really good coach as well. Right. What are some crucial lessons that you learned in that year? And it might not even be with just playing, but they might even taught you about money things or
a whole bunch of lessons from the players, from the coach. Patience again. You come from college, you're playing all the time. You know what I mean? I was playing the most as a rookie point guard. I was playing the most in college, I think, in the whole NCAA.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and high school, you get this feeling, that you're the guy, and then you get to the league, and it's so many players that are like you, and I get to a team like that, and my opportunity wasn't there yet, so I had to just work in the shadows for a long time until I got my opportunity, and you had to be ready for it. So just the patience, staying focused, the laser focus, and then money-wise, I'll always remember that Manu would just tell me, don't compete with nobody that, has been in the league for a long time. And don't try to feel like you need to compete with anybody. You're your own man. You make your money, and that's yours. You don't got to be flashy around us, which the Spurs wasn't a flashy organization.
That was a perfect environment.
Yeah.
I used to see Tim Duncan dress up. I was like, what? What's homie wearing? He's not spending no paper.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I tell you a story though. Timmy D, he never used to get the fades. You know what I'm saying? He had his haircut. He just cut it himself. You know what I mean? And one year we came, I think it was like my second year in the league, we came to Toronto. And I had the barber come over, and I was like, yo, just go give TD a fade. You know what I'm saying? I told TD, he's coming to give you a fade. And he got a fade, and he's been getting faded
Ever since.
Look at you.
I'm not-
you put on
I'm
Tim
not lying,
Duncan. That's good. That's a story to tell. You gonna tell your kids like, hey, if anything I'm gonna teach you is that I put Tim Duncan on getting his face.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right.
Maybe you might have another.
I know he was like, what? This little boy ain't telling me to get no fade. What? I for sure. And what about championship mindset? Because there's like, you can play basketball, could be really good at it, but to get to that level and then be able to be on a championship level, caliber level team and play at like literally the best, what was that?
And accomplish that championship.
No, yeah, and like actually follow through, like.
Yeah, it's tough. Very, very hard. I think from outside looking in, you don't really, unless you've experienced it and been there, you don't really realize how hard it is. We got there. I think that was 2013. Everybody knows Ray Allen shot and he hit it against us. We were up. We were going to win the championship. The yellow ropes were out. My family's up in the stands. They gave him the passer to come on the court and everything crazy. Wow. And then that was taken away from us. And I think that feeling was the worst feeling, you know, ever. That feeling was crazy. Well, basketball-wise, of course. That feeling was crazy. And then the amount of focus next year to come back, get there, and to win it was unbelievable. I don't think, like, we didn't mention it much, but everybody had it in the back of the head last year when Ray Allen hit that shot. And I can't remember one joke from that season. We were so
super
focused.
serious.
We were super serious. We were super focused. And we all had it in the back of our head, like, we're going to get this thing done. We got to get this thing done. We got to get that feeling off of our bodies, out of our minds. You know what I mean? And it was crazy. And I won't forget either, that year, we won. We played Dallas first round, went to game 7. Coach put me in like, it was one game, Coach put me in like 0.3 seconds or something like that. It was like, it was at Dallas. To guard the inbounder, you know, this is how much focus you have to have and to accomplish that. And I didn't cut off he said I didn't cut off the baseline. Well, I didn't cut off the baseline well enough. And Vince Carter hit that game winner. I don't know if you guys remember that in the corner.
Yeah.
I got ripped. I'm like, damn, I only played like 0.3 seconds. Like, what else?
I had one job, and I failed at that.
And I was like, man, I better not do that
ever again. You learn real quick,
you know. And then I just from there, then I realized, you got to have laser focus. And then we went in the Western Conference Finals. We were playing OKC. Tony Parker, Game 6. Tony Parker gets hurt, like, you know, he gets hurt, tweet something or whatnot. Second half, I have to start, you know, because he used to do that. He's like, okay, all right, you start. So then I did. I was ready for my opportunity. We were down like 7. We came back. We were up like 2 when I got off. And then it was all she wrote from there. Like, we thought we were going to have to play another Game 7. It gave Tony Parker the opportunity to rest. And that was huge. You know, that kind of like jump-started my whole career right there.
Yeah. And you've been through so much just in terms of like basketball, being able to go from, you know, regular high school to prep school to college for a minute to the NBA. What does your support system look like?
It's really good. Really, really good. I obviously have a tight family and my friends.
Like Twee,
himself. And I've surrounded myself, my family obviously is great. They keep me level-headed. And I've surrounded myself with guys that are ambitious, and they'll tell you how it is, you know. They're no yes man. One of my friends, I call him a no man. Because it don't matter. Whatever I say, it's a no.
He'll be like, no.
Oh my God. No, whatever. Even if it's correct, I can say, I'm going to go through. No. Right away, you know. I just call him the no man. But it's good, though. It's good because it keeps you, you know, pushing.
Yeah.
It gives you perspective.
Yeah, it gives
That's
you perspective.
good because
it keeps you going.
There's so many people that make it to a certain level, whether it's fame or with money, and then they have all these people around them that are always just being like, okay, yeah, that's good. And more times than not, it doesn't lead you down a great path. Like Kanye has a bunch of yes men. I'm confident that there's nobody behind Kanye that's really telling him not to do what he does.
I don't know that well.
Listen, no shade to Kanye. I love him. But like, for real, I've heard stories where he'd be at the radio station and he'll say something crazy. And I think he was at Breakfast Club. He was saying something off the wall. And his people, you could see them behind the glass just being like, yeah. Like they were literally like rooting him on to continue with his craziness. But it's like things like that. Like you really need the people behind you that are going to tell you like, nah, bro. Like
for sure. And for me, I think I'm not that way. So I wouldn't really even have people around me like that because I'm not that type of way. I'm not the flashy type. I'm not out there like that. I just like to chill and have fun and do me.
Just live your best life.
That's the same thing with my friends and my family.
Yeah, I get it.
All right, so that wraps up part 1. And part 2, we're going to dive into money a little bit, sort of get into the nitty-gritty understanding, how certain people in the NBA use their money and businesses outside of the NBA. I'm Twee Estate.
Daniel King Sold.
All right, we still got Cory Joseph in the building, special guest. We're going to dive into a little bit more money issues, a money topic. So Cory, tell me, what was the first big purchase you made when you saw that kind of check?
I needed some wheels to get around, so I bought an A7 when it came out. I think that was like 2012 or something like that.
Did you buy it all cash?
2012. No, I didn't. Actually, I got a loan on it just so I could build my credit, to start building my credit. I mean, I could have, but I just got a loan just to start building my credit because I had nothing, I didn't work in the States. I had to go get Social Security and all of that stuff. Even when I came to the Raptors, I had to get a social insurance number because I've
never had one.
Never had one. Yeah. So I left when I was very young. But so I got a car. But then like my first real purchase that I held close to me was my house that I bought. I think that was this after my second year there. I bought a nice house a little outside the way that I ended up having for like 3 or 4 years. Even when I left, I had rented it to another player that came. Okay. And I seen a good return off of that. It was in a neighborhood that was being built in like a subdivision there. They had about like 7 different types of homes that the builder was building. I bought one that while the community was still building up. They were expanding the road just outside of the out of my community. So I ended up buying it and I actually made a little good.
A good change?
A good change off of it. Actually, if I should have kept it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, you'd be up some more.
Oh my gosh! Now that area is unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Did you always have like a real estate mindset? Because I know you've done some investments with Twee up in Kleinberg and stuff like that. Has real estate always been on the forefront of your mind in terms of investing and kind of building your portfolio?
I've always been interested. And then, I mean, obviously growing up and being younger, I didn't really have the knowledge. But as I've gotten older, I've continued to expand in that aspect. But I've always been interested in just in homes, whether the look or whatnot. And then when I kind of get older now, I'm understanding the ins and outs of it. And why I started to get into it is because, I mean, on that, I just did the numbers game. I mean, the first, like you guys have the, millennials usually get their first $1 million off real estate. So
yeah, that's facts. 90% of millionaires are built with real estate, so it's a numbers game.
And I always say, like, if I'm going to casino and they said 90% of the time I'm gonna, win on playing this game, I mean, where would everybody be at?
Who'd be there right now?
You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%.
Wouldn't play no other game.
No, 100%. How do you feel the importance of investing as an athlete? Because we always hear stories of, Antoine Walker going broke, Latrell Sprewell, Allen Iverson. I don't know if he's really broke, but there's always stories of NBA players.
Iverson has a check waiting on him.
Is he? Yeah. Does he really? Why are they talking about him like that then?
I don't know why they're dealing with him like that in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have some money coming.
I don't think he's
He's good, no?
I think he's good.
Okay, but I know Antoine Walker. He's playing like for $700 a game right now somewhere in Mexico.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'm not speaking on any of that stuff. But go ahead.
What's the importance you feel as investing as an athlete? You know, like, because obviously you're not going to play in the NBA forever. You know, you obviously may have a very long career because you're an amazing player. But what do you think the importance of investing as an athlete and just as a millennial altogether?
I think it's very important to invest as an athlete or a millennial. You know, I think the league, just to go back to talk about that, I think the league has done a great job with putting programs and stuff now that, you know, since I got into the league and now they continue to add more programs and whatnot where you can go to wherever, Yale or all the types of places and learn from these people that are professionals in that business. So people continue to do that, whether it's getting into TV stuff or whether that's doing real estate or whatever you want to do. They've done a great job. But for me, it's, very important to invest because basketball doesn't last forever. Everybody knows that. And you got to continue to make money.
How do you feel about real estate versus stocks and other vehicles to build wealth?
I talked to some of my teammates that love stocks and getting into that. But my passion, I think you have to have a passion for something first, you know, to really succeed in it. And my passion is with real estate and not stocks. But stocks can be a good opportunity for some people too. But for me, it's real estate because that's what I'm most passionate about. Right? Exactly. And I do stocks too. I have stocks, but I have more of a team that does my stocks. But I also, you know, I've downloaded like the Robinhood and I put money into it just to learn. You know, if I think my money's going somewhere, I want to learn about it. So just to learn about it, I'm always on the phone with them. We take meetings and blah, blah, blah. So I can continue to learn the stock game. But, you know, real estate is my passion, my love, and that's where I want to, you know, have a life after basketball. That's what I want to be doing.
Oh, for sure. You always got to do something you love. What's one of the biggest lessons that you learned when investing, whether it be with real estate or stocks? Like what's a gem that you've taken away from all your years when you've been investing and doing whatever venture you're doing?
I think it is the biggest thing I've learned is probably to do your due diligence. No matter how good something sounds, you have to do your due diligence. And you have to understand it. You know, I've gotten to a point now where I'll ask a million questions or I'll ask the same question a million times, you know, until I understand it. Kind of like that thing, you know, teachers you say, oh, there's no dumb question. And people be like, yo, I'm not asking no question. Even if you had that question, you just didn't want to be that person. Now I'm that person, you know. And it's like, well, if you're going to invest into something, you got to know. And I've made mistakes. I'm not sitting up here saying I haven't. You know, that's why I've learned to, you know, the biggest thing is due diligence because there's been times where I haven't done it right away where it just put me in a situation where I had to do it.
Because, I mean, in your position, you must get pitched or thrown things all the time.
Probably
like I know personally, for the last few years, I've always come to you with ideas and stuff like that. So how do you deal with that and how do you like sort of navigate, you know, between certain investments and other decisions apart from like due diligence and stuff?
Sorry, ask the question again.
I'm saying in your position,
right,
you know, you must get pitched things a lot. People throw you ideas and strategies all the time. Like how do you make decisions outside of doing due diligence? Is it more like a feeling? You said you invest with your gut also, instincts?
Well, I try to stay away from that, but you got to invest in the person. You know, I feel like that's another major key in doing an investment. You know, you got to look into that person. You got to see what type of person they are. You got to get to know them as much as you can. Obviously, whether it's in a short period of time or over a long period of time, and because that's who's going to be handling whatever it is that you're, you know, investing in. Whether you're going into a partnership with him and he's representing you and your brand, or whether you're putting money with him so he can handle it and you know you're trying to make a profit. So you got to invest with the people, and you know with good people, I would say, and also, you know, do your due diligence.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because even when I watch like Shark Tank and other investment shows, they're always talking about investing in the personnel. It's always the people that they're investing in. It's not necessarily the product.
idea.
It's this person's ability to execute this product or this vision. Right. And I think that's what they really, really invest in.
Especially if, within the deal, I mean, good person, bad person, whatever, especially if that person needs you, to move the investment forward, then you're more likely to look into that person and who they are and what type of person they are. But if you're going into a deal where that person doesn't need you, just the numbers for both you and him make sense, then, it's a little different. Now you're talking a numbers game, you're doing your due diligence, that person is less likely to screw you over in a way because they don't really need you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's a different, you got to look at it when you're going into from two different aspects, two different views.
100%.
Yeah.
So with real estate now, I know you invest in the States and invest in Canada. What are your takes on the differences in the markets?
The States.
What do you like about States versus Canada, vice versa?
Yeah, the States is just, there's so many markets. You know what I mean? It's obviously the population is way bigger. There's everywhere. There's so many cities. There's they got cities too. Toronto is an amazing city. I live here, so I like to actually invest here because I know the people. I know a lot of avenues where I could get information or whatnot. So I've invested here in Canada
more, right?
Probably more than I've even invested in. It's close, but more than I've invested into the States. And just now, I'm starting to get into the States because I heard a lot of people pitch me stuff, but I have some obviously relationships with people over there, but I have a lot of relationships here, which is easier just to read into the people, get information, talk to people, blah blah blah. So I've and this is home for me, so I've invested more here, but. The States, there's so many different markets. You could go to Atlanta, you could go to New York, you could go to LA. There's so many different places. Here, Vancouver, there's here, but other than that, there's not like as much big cities here in the States.
Is there a company or a deal that you passed up on that you wish you didn't? Or you don't even look into them after you pass?
Yeah, there's always going to be deals that, you can look back on and be like, shit, I shouldn't have
one
passed
that was
up
memorable,
on that.
like,
you know what I mean?
Like you got Uber before it was Uber or something?
Nah, not really. I've been a conservative guy and not really. There's probably some that's not even hitting me right now. But I'm sure there's some where I could have got into. I'm like, damn, I should have got into it. But I don't even try. I don't even think like that. Like I always think like if I missed that one, another one will come.
It wasn't for you.
It wasn't for me, and another one will come, which it always does. Just like if you miss on buying a house and you're like, damn, I should have had that house. Now that it's sold to somebody else is when you usually like, I should have. I loved it.
You never know what you got till it's gone.
Right, and you were procrastinating when you were about to buy it. You know what I mean?
You weren't serious.
You were serious, but now somebody else has it. You're like, damn. But I always feel like
it's like a shorty.
Let's not go there.
Some people are in relationships.
Yeah. No. Speaking about investing, how else do you diversify your portfolio? Is it just real estate and stocks, or like I know like Shaq, he does like car washes and franchises, and like what are some other things that you invest in?
Yeah,
that you believe in.
I've started now just investing in other stuff when I felt comfortable too. For me, it's all about comfortability. So I've started to invest actually in Miami. I invested in companies, oil stuff, and I just heard from a mutual friend. I met with the guy. We had a conversation over lunch. He told us the whole rundown. I liked the deal, so I invested. And that time I more invested, in him really. Yeah. It's a startup. It's a startup company. They've done a amazing job, which they continue to do an amazing job. They continue to fill up the trucks for Amazon and all types of stuff. But so I now I've started to go away from just the real estate and the stocks, but not huge investments. I'm starting small and then I build my way up.
Get your feet wet.
Yeah, exactly. After I learn, then I build my way up.
Oh, that's key. Do you have any advice for like any young people growing up? Like, I can speak for myself. You probably too as well. Everyone has the hoop dreams growing up. Like in the city, like all my friends, everybody, I always wanted to know, like always wanted to make it to the NBA. But we know there's only a small percentage of people that actually do. Do you have any advice for anybody that wants to make it to the league, or maybe just wants to be a millionaire one day, like to be in your shoes and be able to drive the nice car and live a comfortable lifestyle?
Right. I would think for the league, I mean, you just have to keep your big dreams, and you have to really work like nobody's ever worked. And also, obviously, time and opportunity, all that stuff comes into play as well, because it's a bunch of people that are working hard, but you just got to continue to work. But on successful business, whatnot, you just have to gain as much knowledge as you possibly can. I wish I would have had the knowledge I had now at when I first got into the league. And obviously it's a process, but if I would have started learning back then and took it serious as I do now, I would have been 10 steps ahead of I am now. You know what I mean? So I think knowledge is power. Do as much as you can to learn, and when you learn, then you have to take action, because a lot of people are very smart, and a lot of people have great ideas. It's just about taking action and putting that step first, and it has to be the right time, and obviously timing is key.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Timing is everything, as we've seen with your career, right? Certain things happened at the right moments that opened up these windows and opportunities for you. And I think that journey to becoming an NBA player and that journey to success, they both require the same sort of attributes, right? Perseverance, focus. I believe like that same journey is the same, right? So, I mean, people have to understand that, like, if you don't make it to, let's say, the league or whatnot, that same perseverance, you should be able to transfer. It's usually transferable.
Yeah, sports teach you a lot about life.
Yeah, teamwork.
In general.
Yeah, exactly. So,
what are some things that you've learned? Because obviously you've been coached by, Greg Pop, one of the best coaches that's ever lived, and you played with Kobe and all of these all-time greats. Like, what is like some of the things that you've learned from, whether it be Pop or Kobe or MJ? Like, you've rubbed shoulders with all of these guys before.
Yeah, I've learned a lot and I enhanced a lot. Obviously, patience, like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about basketball, patience in terms of, playing and doing what you have to do and working on your game in the shadows if you're not getting, the opportunity at the time. Also perseverance.
Sorry to cut you off, because in your first year, I believe, you chose to step down and go D-League.
Yes,
right?
yeah, that was a story. So it was my first year I played in the D League. We won a D League championship.
Oh, wow.
First year we had a great D League team. We won the D League championship. It was amazing. Then the second year, at the start of the second year, they would send me back and forth. Sometimes just the opportunity wasn't there. I felt like I was ready to play, but I had other guys before me in my position that the opportunity wasn't there for me to play. So I was getting ready. Actually, I was getting ready to go on a trip with the Spurs, San Antonio Spurs, Pop. So I called Pop before. It was like a long road trip. It was like a week road trip or whatnot. And I asked him, my mindset was like, okay, there's 30 teams in the NBA. If I'm not getting an opportunity, who knows if I will ever get an opportunity. I have to showcase my ability. You know what I mean? And nobody ever wants to get sent down to D. It always looks like it was like a demotion type, And I felt like, well, forget that. You know what I mean? My eyes, it was an opportunity. So I called him before the road trip, and I was like, well, if I asked him, am I gonna get an opportunity? And he kind of like, no, I don't know, because they have obviously what's going on, I mean, that's why he's one of the best coaches of all time, because he's a straight shooter.
He kept it real. He kept it 100 with you.
He's gonna keep it real with you at all times, which I respect that to my core. And he was like, I don't know, maybe whatever, I don't know, I was like, okay, well, I'll rather just go down to the D League and work on my game, and and then call me back up whenever it's ready, when time is right, So that's what I did. I went back to the G League. I played there for a couple games, and then that was the last time I ever went there.
You went there, you killed, you showcased your talent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I
all
went
of a
to the
sudden,
D-League All-Star game. I was in the D-League All-Star game. I got tweaked my ankle. I couldn't go and play, but I made it to the All-Star game for the D-League All-Star game. It's during All-Star weekend, which was a big accomplishment as well, so it was good.
That must have took a lot to kind of put your pride. Was that a lot for you to put your pride to the side and be like, you know what, I'm going to step down, take a step forward so that I can take a few steps.
Right.
Take a step back to take a few steps forward, I mean?
Yeah, for sure, because you come from college and high school and you're the man, you know.
Yeah.
And now you're in a position where you're not the man. And, you know, you got to really look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, well, how am I going to last? You know, how am I going to last in the NBA? What's my niche, you know? And, you know, at that point, I would played, you know, 100 and 1,000%, you know, with energy at all times. And it really showed on the defensive end. And that was my niche, and that's why I mean, obviously, you know, I shoot and all that. I'm expanding my game and all that stuff. You know, obviously, I don't want to just be looked at as just a defensive player, but, you know, that's been my niche, and I'm going into my 10th year, so it's good.
you found your niche, you stuck to it.
Right, found my niche.
Yeah, and it proved to be, you know, profitable.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
gained out of
Find
it.
your niche. You got to.
Built from there. Yeah,
That's a great perspective, though. You know, the humbleness or the humility to be able to step back and say, you know what, I may not be getting the exposure I need right now here. Let me take a step back so that I can ultimately, you know, display my talent, display my skills, and move forward. And I think that's just like an analogy of life. Sometimes you may think you're getting derailed or you're going through a tough time, but there's opportunity in that. Right. It's just about your perspective, how you see it,
how you look at it.
And I think for the last part, I would say just on business-wise, transitioning out of the league, which I don't feel like I need to yet. I feel like I got a good amount of years still left in me for sure.
Yeah, at least 10.
Yeah, never been injured, which is, you know, God willing.
Knock on wood.
But, you know, for me, the mindset is you have to build, you know, for the guys you mentioned, talking about life after basketball and how to maintain, you know, your status or whatever, or your financials. You got to create a passive income to, you know, take care of your expenses. And that's what it's about for me. You know, I'm just keep building my passive income with stuff that I've, you know, with investments and all types of other, you know, stuff that I'm doing to take care of all of my expenses. And I know once I get to that point, I won't have to change my life because all of my passive income is taken care of. And as that goes up, then my whatever I have to do, whatever I want to do goes up too.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's key. That's key, man. And I appreciate you coming through, dropping some gems on us. Sure. It's really appreciate it, you know, because, you know, once you reach certain levels, it's always important to kind of give those gems back because there's a lot of people that want to follow in your footsteps and get to those levels, and they're just not sure how to get there, you know, and that's what this podcast is all about. So every episode, we end with a book. This one is called Relentless. If you don't mind sliding me tweets. This book, the foreword is actually by Kobe Bryant, and it's essentially about never being content. It's about driving to be the best, achieving new levels, and even when, you know, there's not a level there, just kind of keep going up. It's about facing your fears and being feared, essentially, and not just being feared, but being respected, not for your physical abilities, but also your mental abilities, and that's key.
Yeah, Tim Grover.
Yeah, no, this is a big one.
Yeah.
Closing out, do you have any favorite quotes or anything? Because this is a forward by Kobe. Do you have any experiences with Kobe or anything like that you wanted to share? Anything that kind of stuck with you?
We all know how relentless and amazing he was as a player. I didn't get the chance that much to, you know, get to know him off the court, but I had little things on the court when I played for the Raptors, and you know, I played him with the Spurs. I got chances to guard him, and he's an unbelievable player, so I always respected him, and just it was amazing, those little interactions where he'll just, you know, say, like those stuff like, get off me, or like, can't guard me, or stuff like that, you know, it was just amazing. You know, that's
in hindsight, you appreciate that
you
stuff.
appreciate it, and you know, if you're at the free throw line, he comes up when I was at the Raptors game in Toronto, he'll come up like, give me this one, CJ, Corey, come on. I'm like, damn, he knows my name. You know, this little stuff, and it's a hell of a guy. Now I got the opportunity to go to his memorial at the Staples Center.
That was sick.
Which was unbelievable. Obviously, nobody wishes to be there, but that he really affected a lot of people in a positive way.
100%. So I'm going to end off with a Kobe Bryant quote, because we always end off with quotes. Everything negative, pressure, challenges, it's all an opportunity for me to rise. And I feel like Kobe embodies that. Whatever was thrown at him, torn Achilles, whatever he has, he's still in there. And it's just that Mamba mentality. And I feel like if we all apply that Mamba mentality to our life, our career, whatever we're doing, whether it be basketball, business, we're going to be successful in whatever that we're doing.
Facts.
100%.
100%.
All right. That concludes the episode of Cory Joseph. It's M2M. I'm Twee Estate.
Daniel King Sold.
Cory Joseph. Thank you.
Peace. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in.
I get the book.
That's how you do.
Just making sure.
Say less.